Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So for the last sort of 24 hours or so, I've been kind of dicking about and playing around with iRacing, just kind of finding my feet and starting to kind of try and make my way through the rookie classes. Now, for those of you that don't know, iRacing is touted as the Big Daddy sim. It's the one that the most people play on, and you can pretty much find a race in something at any time of day, regardless of where you are in the world. Now, I've paid for a month's worth of subscription just to see if I actually like it, whether it's something that I want to get involved in. Obviously, there are different ways that you can get involved with iRacing, but it is all subscription based. So, like I say, I've paid a month's worth of subscription, which is, I think, cost me £6 or something like that, depending on what your exchange rate is. Now, I've just been playing around in the MX5 Cup, in the rookies, as it's called, and I thought I'd show you guys a race in iRacing, do a little bit of chat, and give you guys some of my initial thoughts, literally after 24 hours of playing on this game, my first impressions of it. But before I do that, if you guys are enjoying these videos, if you like what I'm doing, then of course hit the like button down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well, and of course the little bell notification as well. So here we are on pole. Now, of course, I don't normally qualify on pole. I was a little bit shocked when I came round and did my qualifying lap and actually landed it on pole. So I'm hoping to do a bit of a Vettel from here and just kind of make my... Oh, I've got a box full of neutrals there as well. So definitely losing some ground on this run down to the first corner. So, like I say, one of the first things I want to do is try and get myself up into first place and just try and avoid any contact at all. Now, that's because the iRacing penalty system punishes you incredibly harshly, actually, for pretty much any contact. I actually got a little bit frustrated last night by people just running into the back of me, and then I actually got disqualified for that because, as you'll see a little bit later on, if you go off track, that gives you a penalty as well, and you're only allowed 17x before you're disqualified, so you're only allowed 17 penalties. Well, it only takes a couple of contacts that are kind of 4x that you actually start having to tiptoe around people. Now, we're just kind of trying to drive away from the field at this point, and the rookies have a bit of a reputation, shall we say, for having not the greatest drivers in the world in them. I mean, I was pushing 124s around Summit Raceway, which is not quick by the kind of aliens standards, but at 4 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, it kind of did me okay. So there we go, that's a nice solid kind of first lap, and we'll see in the gaps to about 7/10 of a second at this point. So I have successfully managed to kind of build up a bit of a gap, and you can see me heel and toeing actually just down to the first corner. So it's really interesting actually with these Mazdas, because they don't have a great deal of power. You are just trying to carry as much speed through the corner as possible. And like I said earlier, I don't know what to say about the iRacing penalty system. I guess it has its flaws, like every sim has its flaws. Whether that actually improves the racing, I don't know. Like I say, I've been driving iRacing for 24 hours at this point, so I'm going to leave it a little bit later, just to kind of leave it a little bit longer just to sort of form my opinions properly. And that's actually the second place guy that's just disconnected, so I don't know if there's something gone on between second and third place, but this guy Damien Kober has actually throughout this race kept me fairly honest and was pushing me really hard. And there's a little kind of incident a little bit later on, and we'll get to it in a bit, and we'll see. And I'm really trying to kind of push out wide on that final corner, because obviously you've got this long run down to turn 1, and the more speed you can carry out of that corner, so you're really trying to extend the track as much as possible. Now, this actually leads me sort of breaking down into turn 1 as he gets rather close to the back of the car there, but kind of has to pull the car up to kind of get the car stopped, which actually loses him a bit of ground. With my brakes, I was obviously using the Fanatec V3s, the Club Sport V3s. They're obviously a load cell set of pedals, and I had to adjust the brake setting. I can't remember, I think it's called brake sensitivity or something like that in the iRacing settings, and that has made a massive difference to my braking points. Actually, it means that I can push a lot harder into the corners, and I'm still decided into that corner there whether I want to be in second or third through there. So I'm just kind of trying things out at this point, and you can see I've got a gap of about 0.6 of a second. So he's still keeping me honest. He's still close enough that I am gonna have to keep an eye on the mirrors, especially coming through the last corner and out onto that final straight. And as you can see, I'm trying to not scrub as much speed, or trying to carry as much speed, and he's actually got a little bit of a run on me this time around. I think I'm going to move over in a second just to defend. I'm actually watching the replay back at this point. Yeah, there we go. I just moved just to the middle of the track just to cover off that inside, so that if he wants to go around me, he's got to go around the outside. And you can see the famous iRacing spotter there just letting me know he's up the inside of me. And now, as we get a bit further through this race, we're going to come across something which is quite a controversial topic for a lot of sim racers. Now, I haven't experienced it that much at this point. Like I say, I'm literally giving you my first impressions of iRacing, and it's the iRacing tyre model. Now, when I qualified for this race, actually, I completely binned it on the out lap. So I went into the first hot lap literally coming out of the pits and having completely cold tyres. So it gave me a bit of an impression of what it's like to go out on cold tyres, and it's not a great deal of fun, to be honest. But what I will say is, actually, more than that, is going back to what's happening in the race and just kind of talking about how the tyres are wearing, and you actually do have to, you find yourself braking a little bit earlier, but it's not in a way that the car's washing out mid-corner. It's a way that the car's not stopping, which to me seems really, really odd, actually. It's a very odd way of driving. As you can see, I'm just heading down. I'm actually hitting the brakes really hard into that first corner, and you can see again I'm trying to heel and toe down the gearbox, and the guy behind me has actually run a little bit wide there, so it's giving me a bit of a breather, but he's staying consistently between half a second and a second behind me, so just keeping me honest, making sure that I really have to get on it through this throughout this race, to be honest. And yeah, like I say, with the tyre model, I feel like they've got the wrong end of the stick with this thing. And like I say, it doesn't feel, for example, like the R-Factor tyre model, where it's the mid-corner grip that's not there when your tyres are worn. It's the turn in a mid-corner, whereas with iRacing at the moment, it very much feels like it's the grip coming down into that first corner, especially. You really notice it there, to kind of get the car stopped. Now, as you can see, I'm just trying to again carry as much speed through that last corner as possible and running a little bit wide. You can see the guy behind me kind of followed me in a little bit there, and I've actually gained a little bit of a gap now, and this is exactly what I'm talking about now. And we're about halfway through the race at the moment. Is I'm now going to brake just at the three cones there and just not get the car stopped. It just suddenly stopped, and then you can see actually what I was talking about with the iRacing penalty system is I've been given an off-track penalty there for just running wide, which I think is a little bit unfair, particularly in a class where it's the rookies. People are gonna make mistakes. But like, fair enough. A bit further on, if you're running LMP1s or GT3s or whatever, then fair enough, you should be aiming to be as crisp and clean as possible. And to be honest, I think actually running off track is probably, I have more of a gripe with that than I do with the contact thing. ACC, for example, has different ways of dealing with stuff like that, with the consistency and the racecraft ratings, but in terms of contact, it's fairly similar. So I don't think anyone's come up with an algorithm yet that's successfully able to determine who is at fault for a crash. And it kind of perplexes me a little bit, because if somebody hits you from behind, then there are very, very, very few situations where that's the car in front's fault. And it seems to me it would be relatively simple to, you can see I'm braking early for the first corner now, it seems to me that it would be relatively simple to check where the car has braked in, or where the driver has braked in previous laps, and compare that to where they braked for a particular place. And if the algorithm spots something out of character, then maybe it needs to go back and have a look at the incident. But to be honest, apart from that, I can't really see any other situation where getting hit from behind is anything but the car behind's fault. Because even if someone turns in on you, or somebody turns in on you, it means that if you're still taking them out, then you're not far enough up the side of them to be really sticking your nose there anyway. So we're now back to about half a second to the guy behind, and he really is pushing me. At this point, I'm really starting to feel the squeeze, because I can feel the tyres just starting to slowly give up on me. And this is something that I've actually really enjoyed about iRacing, and not the tyre model, but actually the quality of the racing. I said to some of my friends last night that it's actually one of the most physical games I've played. And obviously I'm driving on a DD2, I've got full load cell pedals, and I've got them pretty much as hard as I can get them. So you're really having to muscle the car around, and the sensation of muscling one of these these MX-5s around is incredible, actually. And I don't think any other game comes close to it in terms of racing. In terms of a driving experience, it's on a par with everything else. It's not, I don't feel like it's better than anything else, but I don't feel like it's particularly terrible either. There are definitely games out there that I could name that don't, Project Cars 2, that don't give you that same satisfaction from driving. And one of the things that annoys me about iRacing, and I'm going to go back to, sorry, this is a bit all over the place, but I'm just doing this in one take just to get all my thoughts out there, is the wheel. Now, if anybody knows how to get rid of the wheel in iRacing, please put it in the comments. Admittedly, I've not googled it, I've not looked for it or anything, but if you know how to get rid of the wheel in iRacing, please tell me, because it's so annoying. I normally drive, you'll see, I drive all my other sims with the wheel switched off. Obviously I've already got a wheel in front of me, I don't need another one, and I've got a feeling this is actually where he kind of tries to send it on me a little bit. Actually, the guy behind me, you can sort of see him, yeah, here he comes, you can see it coming from a mile off, and he just completely outbrakes himself. And that actually, at this point, I know I've got the win. All I've got to do is not make any mistakes. So at this point, I'm kind of cruising and just braking early for corners, just getting the car through, still setting a reasonable pace. You'll see my pace kind of drop off into the 26s, just to kind of maintain the gap to the car behind me and not put the car at risk. And this is something that I think doesn't happen as much. It's very much a rookie thing, and I've done it in the past where I've been way out in front, and that's fairly rare for me anyway, but it does happen. I've been way out in front, and all of a sudden I realise that I'm out in front, and I choke a little bit, and I will put the car off into the gravel somewhere, and I'll lose, because I basically took myself from a completely secure and safe situation where I'm a few seconds ahead of the car behind me, to the point where I'm then having to chase them through the final laps. I'm not entirely sure what the thanks is for there, but that was kind of the guys behind me. And it's actually a bit of a shame that this guy behind me took himself out on that last lap, because like I say, he was keeping me fairly honest, and at this point I am very much cruising just around the last lap. So it's just a case of, like I say, keeping the car whole, just making sure that I don't do anything silly, no money shifts or anything like that. You can see all my shifting in a second when I change down for the corners. It's all just slowed down ever so slightly just to make sure all the gears go in nicely. All the gears kind of, I'm not shifting from like 5th to 2nd, which I have done before on iRacing, and it really is annoying, and it's a massive bang actually when it does when you lift the clutch. But that was that was in a practice session though, so that doesn't matter. So here we go, we're just heading around the last few corners, and I am still, like I say, I'm still on it. I'm still full throttle through this last section, but the lap times have kind of dropped off now. I'm not too worried. I've got a 7.5 second gap to the car behind. So around the last corner, and that's another weird thing about iRacing actually, is you see the checker flag there, but you don't get a kind of, there's no visual apart from the weird man waving his flag about. There's nothing changes, and you can see I'm really happy about this. This is my first win in iRacing. There we go, that's the notification there. So I actually had that half a second of, have I won? Is it over? Have I got another lap? Is that a thing? So I'm just cruising around to the pits now, and yeah, like I say, I'm actually on the whole enjoying. I'm off the track. Just thanking Damien for a good race there. Like I say, he kept me honest for most of that race. Actually, he was kept me pushing, and to be honest, like I say, at 4 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, that's not bad really. Most other sims you'd struggle to find a lot of people to sit in the same lobby with, but that was pretty good actually. That was a fun race, and that's the thing with iRacing, and I think that's the massive appeal for a lot of people, is actually the racing is really, really good. So once again, thank you very much for listening to me just ramble on about iRacing. I have driven it for 24 hours. I will do another video in a couple of weeks time, just kind of once I've had a chance to kind of think about all the things that I wouldn't necessarily have noticed in 24 hours time, and maybe some of the gripes will have gone away over a month, but we shall see. So we're just heading back into the pits now, and once again, thank you very much to all you guys for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports the channel. Don't forget to have a look at the Amazon affiliate links in the description below. I do have an Amazon affiliate link, so if you guys are buying anything, then hit the link through to the Amazon store, and I get a little bit of money back from Amazon just to support the channel. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.